Alrighty, it is 1:02 p.m. on the 11th of December. We're coming out of recess from our morning session for the purpose of hearing two land use items. Both hearings will follow the same general order. The staff will present the application. We may or may not have questions for staff at that time. We'll invite the applicant to provide any additional information. Again, may or may not have questions. We'll open for public comment. After public comment, we'll ask staff and or applicant to respond, have some discussion, and then render a decision, which could be to approve with conditions, disapprove, or continue if we feel there's not enough information to get to a decision today. So with that, I'd accept a motion to open public hearing for the Genesis RV and boat storage application.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we open the hearing for Genesis RV and boat storage EDZ 2024-8630.
Second.
A motion and a second to open public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. So we're in public hearing. Danny, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, commissioners. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danny Klebanner. I'm a land use planner here for the Community and Economic Development Department in Elbert County. I will be presenting Genesis RV and boat storage. It is an EDZ site development plan, and the case number is EDZ-2024-8630. The request for this is an economic development zone site development plan, which is shorthand EDZ SDP. It's an application for a storage facility with indoor, outdoor, and covered storage areas. As Commissioner Richardson stated, the board will move either today to approve with conditions, or deny the site development plan. The location for this application is 8630 Allen Ridge Drive in Kiowa, Colorado 80117. The applicants for this are Keith Moore with KEM Architecture and Planning, and Dean Meckelberg, Genesis Custom Homes LLC. We held a pre-application meeting for this back in December of last year, almost exactly a year ago, December 13th, 2023. There are no community meeting requirements for EDZ site development plans. The applicant submitted the application August 15th of this year, 2024, and here we are today, December 11th, 2024, for the hearing date. All noticing adhere to our public hearing requirements with a posting in Ranchland News, quarter-mile radius mailings, and an on-site sign posting. Here is a location for the project, zoomed pretty far out. You can see it's right there in the middle between Elizabeth and Kiowa along Highway 86. Moving a little closer in, here's a zoning map of the property. And here is a zoning map with the EDZ overlay. The surrounding zoning and uses. So to the north, you have an industrial property right across Highway 86 there. It is Kiowa Industrial Park. To the south, there is an agricultural parcel. And then on either side, east and west, you have other properties within the Prairie Ridge Industrial Development. Here is an aerial map of the property. Currently, this property is vacant land with a gentle slope and grasslands. There is no floodplain on the property. The existing zoning and land use is agricultural and vacant, although it is within the Prairie Ridge Industrial Development, which is an EDZ subdivision. The proposed zoning will not change, but it will be a commercial land use within the EDZ overlay and a storage facility. The proposed access for this is going to be a commercial driveway that comes off of Allen Ridge Road, which is a service road from Highway 86. Here is another aerial map moving a little closer to the property. Here you can see there that dirt lot just to the left of the red property, that's /K. They're another business in Prairie Ridge, although there's no site development plan for that. And then that red roof building just to the right, further east, is Burnco. As I said, the existing zoning is agriculture with the economic development zone overlay in the Prairie View Industrial Development and EDZ subdivision, and it's currently vacant. There's no change to the zoning, but a site development plan would be approved to allow for a storage business, and the facility would be accessed through a commercial driveway from Allen Ridge Drive. Moving into some details for the site plan, it will consist of one enclosed storage building that's approximately 25 feet tall, about 10,000 square feet. 3 canopy structures that are approximately 11,000 square feet per canopy, and then surface storage on the remainder of the site. The total number of covered or enclosed parking spaces ranging from 12 feet by 30 feet to 18 by 50 will be 69, and then the total number of outdoor spaces ranging from about 10 feet by 25 to 12 by 50 will be 190 spaces. The entire storage area will be surrounded by a 6-foot tall screened chain link fence. Here's some renderings from the site plan. As you can see that on the bottom, that kind of long red graphic is the building elevation. The fence is shown there on the left, and then the site plan with the different size spaces, depending on their size, is how they're highlighted. Some additional plan details. This will have gravel parking lot with at least 25-foot wide drive aisles. The storage building will be set back approximately 40 feet from Allen Ridge Drive, which is a standard commercial setback, and 50 feet from the side property lines. There's a screen chain link fence surrounding the entire storage area. Summit View Water District will provide water for the site. The on-site wastewater treatment system will be reviewed and permitted by Elbert County Public Health, and then a commercial entrance will be required and permitted by Elbert County Public Works for the entrance. Here is a look at the landscaping for the storage facility. As you can see in the front, there's trees, and then around the entire storage area, there's that screen chain link fence. And then on the rear, there's more trees or bushes, and those include common hackberry, espresso, Kentucky coffee trees, pinyon pine, and ponderosa pine. So community meeting and public comments for this. No community meeting is required for the EDZ site plan. We had one public comment that was received this week, so it didn't make it into the agenda packet regarding a comment from fire, but no other public comments were received. And there was an Economic Development Department letter of support. This report gets into the actual economic impact of storage facilities, and storage facilities actually can have a positive impact on land value. RV storage facilities without improvements generate about $1,200 to $1,600 per acre with minimal improvements, whereas RV storage facilities with improvements can generate about $2,500 to $7,800 per acre. Moving into the referral responses, there were no objections outstanding from the contacted referral agencies. I have an additional comment on Kiowa Fire. So we received a comment from the public that Kiowa Fire should have had comments on the referral, and they did not send any comments during the referral period, but they did send a comment during the pre-application phase. I contacted them twice during the referral period, but they did not submit comments. So a concerned citizen had reached out to Kiowa Fire to ask about the lack of these comments. So I have these comments from the pre-application, and I can provide them all to you now. I also have the requirements from Kiowa Fire, which should be followed. And those include: the address must be placed on the business in a position clearly visible from the street, and address numbers must be at least 4 inches high with a contrasting backboard. The gate construction specifications, including minimum gate width of 20 feet with a swinging or sliding type. Materials also need to be operated by one person. Knox box should be installed at the gate in an area approved by Kiowa Fire, and the business will be subject to annual fire inspections by the Kiowa Fire Protection District with impact fees of $1.19 per square foot for the constructed buildings prior to the start of construction. And then the new driveway shall be designed and maintained to support 56,000 pounds and shall be surfaced to provide an all-weather driving capability. So moving forward into the review criteria, Article 3H4 of Elbert County zoning regulations lists review criteria for all EDZ development plan requests. The Board of County Commissioners are to consider these criteria in their review of the application. A, whether the use is in harmony and compatible with the surrounding area and neighborhood. This proposed facility is located along a major arterial in the county. The surrounding area has a mixture of industrial uses surrounded by agricultural uses. This business will fit well within the Prairie View industrial development. The proposed scope and impact of the development is harmonious with the surrounding area. B, whether the use will not have an undue burden on available infrastructure subject to mitigation. This site development request has provided evidence of adequate access, sewer, and water, fire protection, and electricity. It will not have an undue burden on available infrastructure. CDOT, Elbert County Public Works, and Elbert County Public Health all approve of the use. The existing infrastructure will be able to support this business. C, whether the use will not unduly increase traffic congestion or burden existing road system. The applicant has provided a traffic letter which outlined that the development does not result in the daily AM peak hour and PM peak hour trip budgets being exceeded based on the master traffic impact study for the entire Prairie View industrial development. Currently, only about 14% of the daily trip budget is being used for both the 6 Arrow East and Prairie View industrial parks. And CDOT approves of this without any additional permitting. They had asked for clarification about one item, and they are happy with it. D, whether the use will not cause significant air, odor, water, noise, or light pollution. There's outdoor lighting in the form of wedge LEDs. The photometric study showed the downcast lights will not pollute the adjacent properties. There are also no lights on the rear half of the lot, which is closest to the agricultural lot with a residence. The impact on the community will not cause significant air, odor, water, noise, or light pollution. A storage facility is very low impact land use with customers arriving only to pick up or drop off vehicles. E, whether all sanitation requirements will be met. All sanitation requirements will be met. Public health has no concerns. The applicant will need to complete an application for their on-site water treatment systems and provide soil testing and system design. F, whether the use will be adequately landscape buffered and screened. The applicant will install a 6-foot tall screen chain link fence around the storage area to meet Elbert County zoning regulation standards. In addition to the fence surrounding the storage, the building provides screening for the storage facility from the road, and there is buffering and additional landscaping along the northern and southern property lines. The landscaping, again, will consist of pinyon pines, ponderosa pines, common hackberries, and espresso Kentucky coffee trees. Finally, G and H, whether the use will not otherwise be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future inhabitants of Elbert County. The impact for this site development plan should be light. The impact will not be detrimental to the present community. This site development plan is appropriate for both the Prairie View Industrial Development and State Highway 86 corridor. And finally, H, whether supplemental standards are met for specific uses as applicable. Supplementary standards are being met for screening of storage areas with a 6-foot tall solid fence, and the site plan requires an acceptable, and the site plan features an acceptable landscaping plan. With that, staff recommend that the Board of County Commissioners approve Genesis RV and boat storage EDZ site development plan, and that case number is EDZ 2024-8630, subject to the following conditions. And I actually have one additional condition that I believe should be added. I'll get to that one. The applicant will be required to remove the public hearing sign within 7 days of the decision by the Board of County Commissioners. The site plan shall not become effective until all fees are paid, conditions of approval are met, and the exhibit is recorded. Recordation of all appropriate documentation is to occur within 180 days of Board of County Commissioners approval. Impact fees must be paid and all required permits must be obtained prior to construction. And 5, the commencement of this approved EDZ site plan must occur within the first year of approval. Failure to initiate the approved development shall be cause for termination of the EDZ site development plan unless an extension is requested and granted. The additional condition would be number 6. That the applicant follow all Kiowa Fire Protection District specifications and requirements stated in the pre-application comment memo from December 13th, 2023. And that is all. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for staff at this time? No, I'm going to wait for the applicant. Okay, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I did have one, and this is maybe answered by the graphic you just put up, but there was a couple of drawings. One was titled the Boat Storage and EDZ Development Plan, and then the one you're showing that from 2N that's a site plan. The first one in the packet had longer parking stalls that went right up to the southern rear fence line, and the one that's site plan looks like there's about a 30-foot buffer with trees, et cetera.
Yes, so there is a buffer there at the rear of the property. I believe it's 15 or 20 feet, and that's where the landscaping is proposed. And we went through a couple of iterations and during the referral period to get that landscaping plan and site development plan to be consistent so that the storage didn't go up to the property line there in the rear. Yeah.
And again, it's hard to tell from the small drawing, but I'm assuming the landscape buffering is outside of the solid fencing. So
yes.
I guess with that, I'd ask if the applicant has anything they'd like to to add to the staff's presentation?
Architecture and planning. We are in agreement with staff's recommendation and abide by the now 6 conditions, so we don't have a problem with the new fire department conditions at all. The one comment, we did go back and forth with the landscaping being inside the fence or outside the fence. We typically have the landscaping inside the fence so that it can be maintained by the owner without encroaching on other people's property. So, any questions for us?
But the final decision was landscaping outside to screen the fencing, is that?
We have it inside, but if that's what we...
Yeah, I'm actually more concerned about the visual impact on the homeowner that's to the south of you. Right.
And then from the...
Yeah. Yeah.
Are inside the fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the back side of the property, the
Fence is
homeowner,
at the property line and the trees are inside
Inside.
the fence as currently shown.
and then there's RVs on the other side of the trees.
Correct. Yeah. There's also a drainage swale easement down through there, so
I guess,
parking in that area is not going to be...
I guess
Okay.
it just kind of leaves, again, to me, the visual buffering isn't for the RVs to look at.
Right.
It should be, I mean, in my mind, it should be outside the fence, so it provides some visual buffering to the person who lives south of that property, not a fence with some trees poking up behind it, but a fence hidden by the trees or somewhat masked by the trees.
Right.
You say right, but is that something that you're willing to do?
We're willing to do if that's a condition you guys want to put on us. Yes, sir.
We'll come back to that, but that to me is the biggest concern. I mean, it's an industrial area on the highway. The frontage isn't as much of a concern to me as the impact on
The agriculture.
the folks that live behind. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything for the applicant?
Nope.
Alrighty, at this point, I'll open for public comment.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, guys. Connie Perkins, 9006 Highway 86, Kiowa, Colorado. I'm the gal that owns the property to the south. Thank you, Mr. Richardson, for asking that question about the trees, et cetera, and I'm also concerned about the lighting, too, because Burnco, you can see that they're lighting miles away, and it's just concerning. Also, second question is that frontage road along that parallels Highway 86 is currently a dirt road. So is that the same type of gravel that's going to be on this site as well?
I assume you're concerned about dust.
Dust.
Yeah, I've seen.
On a very windy day, Highway 86 is hard to see when those big Burnco trucks are driving along on that. Is that ever going to be paved? Just a question.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand the concern because I've driven through it. And
Okay. And then also, does Ward Vanderberg, the developer, does he still own the lot, or has it been sold?
okay. Yeah, I was going to say if your comments are,
Oh, okay.
we'll collect all the
Okay,
questions
well,
and comments.
okay, all right. So my last comment is the developer, I have contacted him numerous times to follow through with what he promised me to put in a culvert on my driveway, because that affects my property. There's a retention pond that pours out onto my driveway and has ruined part of my driveway. And I'm tired of trying to contact him. I've sent various attorney letters to him, and he doesn't respond. So that's my comment.
If I may. That's different. Do you have and this is, I'm just curious, the culvert, do you have anything in writing from him where he said he would? I mean, if you did, that's
No.
helpful. Okay. No, that's fine. Alrighty. Thanks, ma'am. Is there any other public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. I'd invite the applicant back up.
Hi, my name is Dean Meckelberg. I'm the owner of Lot 3 and now actually Lot 4. So 8680, as of Wednesday of last week, I bought as part of this. The lighting of it in and of itself, there will be some lighting fixtures on the north side of Building 1 that do shine down, and the rest of the lighting will only be in the covered canopy areas, only by motion. So if somebody does come back at 1 a.m. with their trailer and want to park it, there will be a light fixture that will motion in. But the entire back half, no lighting whatsoever. And so those motion censored lights, once they're out, will turn off and disappear. Okay. Trying to think, as far as the Allen Ridge Road, I don't have control over that.
Right,
I don't know that it'll ever be paved. I don't know the answer to that. I do know that, during the planning processes, I know that Allen Ridge Road was built to sustain the weights of the Burnco trucks that drive up and down that road. It's like 2 foot thick of road base and so forth. So that was part of our considerations of buying the property for these trailers that are coming and going, is that the road was built for the weights. But as far as it being asphalted, I don't know the answer to that, if that'll ever happen. And Mr. Vanderberg, I have no control over. I don't know what he's done in the past.
But
the fencing and back screening, Burnco in and of itself has nothing in their back, and they're an open fence. We will have an enclosed fence, so screened fencing to it. I do need somehow or another access to water those trees and bushes and so forth. So I don't have a problem, with the trees and so forth, but I do need some way of getting them fed. Moving the fence isn't really an issue. The back side of that, there's a drainage swale that goes all the way from the other industrial park to the west of us, all the way through Lot 1, through Lot 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that whole back side that you see there is a big drainage swale. And so that all goes into the retention pond that is on Lot 4. That I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, is what's draining out. Now, I don't know the history of any of that kind of stuff and so forth. Generally, those drainage swales and retention ponds have been designed to withhold, the 100-year floods and so forth. So I don't know what it's done to you, to be honest. But I don't control Mr. Vandenberg and his development site plans when he built. Did I hit everything?
I believe so. Like I said, for myself, I do believe the trees need to be outside the fence line. So if that means you lose a parking stall or two to be able to have gated access behind there, or
there's always a way.
To look at a fence with trees behind it and RVs behind it versus being able to look at the trees and perhaps screen that fencing. The people looking at the RVs out don't need to look at trees. They're there to park their RVs and go.
8 lots, I believe, in the entire development, and ours will be the only one that does have the screened fencing.
Yeah.
The others are equipment and Burnco trucks and so forth. So.
we learn by doing, I guess, but, yeah, so, and I agree, and this isn't your issue, it's one between, I guess, our Public Works, Environmental, and Planning, and the state, because there is quite a bit of dust that comes off of Allen Road when
And
those
I
trucks are
don't-
going back and forth.
The only history I've been told, but I have no documentation for this, is that apparently, again, secondhand knowledge, is that Burnco had agreed to oil that road in order to keep dust down, and other neighbors, Lot 1, Lot 2, have also complained that the dust has not been mitigated, but Burnco has apparently never done what they had agreed to. But I don't know if there's writings on that, or,
Right, and
again, it's just second and
And
third-hand
that's on
knowledge.
us to look into. I doubt it was to oil it. Probably environmental folks wouldn't like that.
There's apparently
That
products that
merchloride
they
or
can
some
use
other.
that's not oil, but
Yeah, some other dust. I mean, I had believed at some point Burnco would probably want to concrete that
oh, that
road
would be
for
nice, yeah.
themselves. They seem to have access to the materials, but
They've concreted pretty much their entire facility at this point, so.
there are plenty of times, and this is, I mean, again, not your issue to resolve, but I agree. There's plenty of times I've come down 86 and the cloud of dust across 86 has been enough to
And to be
contact
honest,
Public Works to say, hey.
I don't want my people's trailers to get covered with
Dust,
and
yeah.
stuff either. And so I want to do what I got to do too, to a degree, to help mitigate.
I appreciate that. Do you have any questions or?
Yeah, my question was the same as the one that you brought up, and that was, I didn't like the way you had the buffer zone between you and the lady that lives behind you there. So having a good, and to get water to that, it's called a gate. You can put a gate in.
Oh, I can put a gate in. I'm going to have a trailer with a big tank on it or something to haul down to that bottom, because there isn't water down there, but.
So with the trees and everything from the property line, that would put you back how many feet?
Well, in total, it's approximately 25, 30 feet with that drainage swale and everything involved in there.
And are the trees planted in the drainage swell?
No, it goes down and then it comes back
Oh,
up,
okay.
and then there's agricultural fence line and so forth in there.
And you'd still put what I call a sealed fence inside of the trees?
Do that,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we can't park over the swale anyway. It's approximately 2.5 to 3 foot deep swale. So
Oh.
No, I would, rather than ask for new drawings, I would like to make a condition that the foliage trees be planted
Good.
to the south of the fence. Or
So right now,
outside the,
Lot
fence.
3 is this proposal right here.
Yeah.
Lot 4, I own it, but it's not been approved for any of this stuff yet and so forth. I do hope in the future it's our expansion space, but depending on
And that's
how
got an
this
extensive-
facility goes,
the pond takes up
the
probably.
pond takes up about 1.5
150
acres to 2 acres at the back side of that
So
property.
you're already set back, anything you can do there? Okay. Well, we can only consider what's before us. But, just so I have absolute confirmation, you'd accept a condition that
Yes, sir.
the screening foliage and trees be outside the fence
Sure.
perimeter to the south? Okay, thanks. With that, I guess I would accept the motion.
Should I write the condition with the specific language for the fire?
Yeah, why don't we just-
Let me add that.
Time, let's
Yeah.
take a 10-minute recess while you
Yes.
do that.
Good.
And then, Mark, if you can kind of take the action of
I have it.
following back up with CDOT and Public Works and dust mitigation. And I know Mr. Van Ward's sometimes difficult to get a hold of. Maybe discussing with Burnco to see if they did have if they acknowledged there was an agreement to do any dust mitigation. That does get, there's been some mornings where there's a cloud over the highway there, so. road base, it looks like limestone that's powdered. Actually, thank you, yeah, so, okay, and just, okay, and just, thank you for that, and since you weren't on the mic, the applicant indicated that the surface would be recycled asphalt then, and for dust control and allow permeability. So, thank you.
Landscaping is to be placed on the outside of the fence along the south fence line. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. Seems good.
You were faster than 10 minutes.
Yeah, a little bit.
All righty, so it's 1:40, we're back from recess. The updated conditions are depicted. Could I just get a thumbs up that those are acceptable? Okay, the applicant has indicated those are acceptable. I would accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Genesis RV and Boat Storage EDZ 2024-8630 and include the modified conditions of approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve with the conditions of approval that are depicted. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'd accept a motion to close public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the hearing on Genesis RV and Boat Storage EDZ 2024-8630.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, okay, that hearing's complete. And then, Mark, as I said, if you could follow up, and we'll see what assistance we can give. The dust mitigation, I think, absolutely has to happen. We're just finding out who has the authority to direct it. And then for the culvert and potential damage off-site, that might be one to talk to Monty and the county engineer about, because there shouldn't be water coming off more than historic rates onto that neighboring property.
Yeah, Mark Danrader, Director of Community and Economic Development. Mr. Chair, I will follow up on those items.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, the next item we have is the Ingalls rezone. I would accept a motion to open public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chair, I move we open a public hearing on Ingalls rezone RZ 2024-2599.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to open public hearing on the Ingalls rezone. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. We're in public hearing. Casey, I guess you know how to clear a room.
All right, well, thank you. For the record, Kelsey Lanham with the Elbert County Planning Commission, or Planning Department, not Planning Commission. Today I will be presenting the Ingalls rezone, that is case number RZ-2024-2599. So the project summary, the subject property is at 25995 County Road 5. It is a just over 40-acre parcel, and the applicant is Camille Courtney on behalf of the property owners, and they are requesting to rezone the entire property from agriculture to agriculture residential. The project timeline, so they had their pre-application meeting in April of this year. Their community meeting was held in June. Their referral period was July to August of this year as well. And they went before the Planning Commission on December 3rd, where the Planning Commission voted 7-0 to recommend approval to the BOCC, and there was no public comment as well. And all noticing for both hearings met the Elbert County zoning regulation requirements. Just to go back about the community meeting, there were 3 residents total in attendance. 1 was opposed and 2 were neutral. The main concern was that the residents have a desire for the property to remain the rural agriculture. Other than that, no further public comment has been received throughout this project. On the next 2 slides, there's maps of the subject property. I will say it is a little hard to see, but the subject property is depicted by the little red star in the upper left corner. It is about 3/4 of a mile to the east of the Douglas County border and approximately 6 miles to the northeast or northwest of the town of Elbert. So it's a little ways out there. Now looking at the zoning map, majority of the surrounding properties are agriculture. There is a cluster of agriculture residential properties being less than a mile directly to the south, as well as the Kelly Air Park PUD that is to the southeast. And here's an overview of their rezone exhibit. Like I mentioned, they are requesting to rezone the entire property. The property lines are depicted by the red. There is an existing barn on the property shown in the blue lines, and that is proposed to remain. These are all the referral agencies that the project was sent to. All comments have been addressed, and there are no outstanding objections from any agency. And with that, the approval criteria for a rezone is stated in Article 3, Section C, number 4. These are just the summarized of those criteria. So letter A, the rezone is consistent with the goals of the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed rezone is consistent with the comprehensive plan. B, the rezone is compatible with surrounding land uses. Like I mentioned, the rezone is close in distance to other agriculture residential properties. So the proposed rezone is consistent with surrounding land uses. C, the rezone would not adversely impact public services. The proposed rezone will not impact public services. D, the rezone would not adversely impact the environment. The proposed rezone will not adversely impact the environment. Kiowa Conservation and a few other external agencies were referral agencies during this project, and they had no objections to the rezone. Letter E, the rezone would not create unreasonable traffic congestion or burden the existing road system. The proposed rezone will not create unreasonable traffic or burden the existing road system. Public Works was a referral agency for this project and did not have any objections with the rezone as presented. Letter F, the rezone would not be detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare. The proposed rezone will not be detrimental to those in Elbert County now or in the future. And with that, and based on review of the approval criteria found in the Elbert County zoning regulations, Article 3, Section C, number 4, in the findings in the staff report, staff recommends approval with conditions of the Ingalls rezone. Condition number 1, the applicant will be required to remove the public hearing sign within 7 days of a decision by the BOCC. Number 2, the rezone will not become effective until all fees are paid, conditions of approval are met, and the rezone exhibit is recorded. Number 3, recordation of all appropriate documentation to occur within 180 days of the BOCC approval. And number 4, prior to recordation, the rezone exhibit must comply with all Elbert County zoning regulation standards for rezone exhibits. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Kelsey. Do we have any questions for staff at this time? Well, seeing none, I'd invite the applicant to add any additional information you may want to.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Camille Courtney. I'm the applicant's representative, and we're in agreement with staff. We don't have any concerns about conditions of approval.
All righty. And did you find the conditions that were presented acceptable?
Just fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions at this point?
The only thing that wasn't mentioned is that you're aware that there is a cash in lieu of open space?
Oh, yes, always.
Okay.
We are.
Any closing comments or discussion before we take a motion? Otherwise, I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the Ingalls rezone RZ 2024-2599 with the conditions listed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve with the conditions presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I'd take a motion to close public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to open for public comment, seeing that there is none?
Yes, we do. Thank you. I appreciate you catching that. I didn't finish calling for the motion, so prior to calling for a vote, I would ask if there's any public comment related to this. Okay, hearing none, I'll close public comment, and I know you had mentioned one concern about the rural nature, but obviously there's other development in the area, and this remains in the agricultural context as AR, so I understand it's a smaller lots, but still agricultural in context. So with that, we had a motion and a second to approve with conditions as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Passes. I would accept a motion to close public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chair, I move we close public hearing on Ingalls rezone 2024-2599.
Second.
Motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. We're out of public hearing. Thank you. There's no other business before us today, so I'd accept a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Nay. Motion passes, though. Man, Your app,
Need